first win of the series.
All right, thank you very much, guys. And a pretty dominant victory right there by LMQ. Scarra, you did pick a 3-1 for XDG in the series. Do you want to change your pick? I'm giving you a chance.
I just think that, like I said before, the team that would win the first game, I think, would just take the series. And LMQ is looking really dominating right now. I feel like XDG will not get their confidence back after that game. Like, I'm expecting probably something close to a sweep.
Well, specifically, what about that game makes you think that they're not going to be coming back?
I just think the way that the game was played out, like if you saw how mid lane and how mid lane rotated after, like how Cloud rotated that game, like especially the biggest thing to watch was just the red buff fight. Cloud didn't have to rotate there. Like people just assumed he should have been at the red buff, but what should have happened was that his team already secured the objective, or like didn't secure it. They should have just backed off, and they weren't conscious of the Ori ball, and they just like lost the game right there. So I feel like the team's not on the same wavelength. Like he collapses late, and a lot of that's onto him, but a lot of that's also like his team's not making like the correct judgment, or like just in general, I feel like they're not in the same wavelength, and that's really, really bad going to a series like this.
Dominate, is this what you expected coming into game one?
Yeah, I expected something similar to this. The early game went fine for XDG. I think that with a team that doesn't necessarily have the best rotations, that's probably the best you're going to come out of the early game. So going into mid game, or going into like the 12-13 minute part of the map, I think that they like had control. They would have been able to take objectives, but they messed up really hard on the red fight. They weren't cognizant of the Ori ball, and it really hurt them there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw they actually were able to win a fight earlier on in the game because Soraka could come down and kind of support. But we have the clip of the 12-minute fight in the red buff, and I kind of want both you guys to just walk us through why the rotation was bad and why this was such a bad fight for XG to take. If we can pull that clip up as soon as possible. Here we go.
Okay. So already Soraka's pushing in mid. They see Ori collapsing. So at this moment, they shouldn't even be forcing red. They should just be backing. Like right here, they're lucky that LMQ played this badly and that they kind of swooped into Zuna. They just didn't want. There's no reason to even run back in. They already got the mid lane turret here. And then Soraka late collapses, and then they just lose. Like, this is the game. Because they don't have any kind of initiation. So as soon as they fall behind on this team comp, they just lose, straight up.
Yeah, I think that there was some miscommunication, because if you see a team run in like that, it seems like somebody might have made the call that the Oriole had been used or it wasn't up, because you'd never see a team face check in a situation like that, knowing that Orianna has ball and knowing that it's a 4v5. So I think that there must have been miscommunication there.
Yeah, a lot of miscommunication from XGG, but as well, you were talking about the team compositions a lot during the game and how when XGG fell behind, they were never able to make plays to come back because of their team comp. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think the main thing that they lacked in XGG's team comp was initiation. Once they fall behind, they don't really have a way of forcing fights. And you combo that in with the fact that you're against an Orianna and a Morgana, things that can kite back very effectively. They can never really get kills. There's no way for them to actually start a team fight and win it decisively.
Yeah, anything to add to that, Scar?
No, I completely agree with that. I think the next game, if they don't draft correctly, I feel like they need to be banning out Xiao. Like, there's no reason to even ban other players. Just ban out their mid laner and go from there. I think it's really easy to control the pace of the game. Or not easy, but easier to control the pace of the game if you double or triple ban mid lane.
Yeah, well, Xiao went 4-0-11 in that game. All but one of the kills he was participating in. It was actually Ackerman had 100% team kill participation. But to kind of speak to the mid laner and what Dominate said about not having initiation, the game was almost over. The 18-minute fight is when we knew 100% they weren't coming back. If we could actually pull that clip up on the screen here. Dominate, talk to us about what we were saying here in this moment.
Okay, so this, just going into it, you can tell that LMQ is extremely confident with their fighting potential. They TP Ackerman right into the fight, and they're forcing right on top of the Soraka. Soraka is not normally the target that you want to just heavy focus in a fight, but they know that they're ahead, and they know that if they force any type of fight here, they're going to win it. So they initiate pretty hard, they save the Oriole, get a really good shockwave, and then they just clean up everything from there.
Yeah, he had so many good shockwaves that game, Xiao. Scar, you mentioned actually that he likes to play flashy. He doesn't just want to win, but he likes to play flashy. You want to talk about if XGG could exploit that somehow?
I feel like Xiao Zhao's a very prideful person. Like, you saw that in his series against C9T, where he picked like the Syndra into a Syndra matchup which he just won. I feel like just to make a statement. I think he's the kind of person that won't play Soraka. I think for sure he's the kind of person that really wants to make a statement when he plays mid. He wants to be like I carried this game. I can crush every other mid laner. That's what he says to himself, and that's his level of confidence. So I would triple ban mid lane this game, and I would leave Soraka up and just pick it. Because if you ban out Nidalee, Ori, and Syndra, he's forced to take a matchup that's not very friendly for him against Soraka. I don't think they would expect that kind of strategy.
All right, Scarra wants to triple ban Dominate. If you were XDG, how would you try and prepare and come back in game 2?
I'd say at least double ban. I don't want to see, if I'm XDG right now, I do not want to see another Orianna. I do not want to see a Nidalee from Zhao Wei Zhao. Maybe you can be adventurous, ban the third ban if there's something else you know, but I think at least double ban on Zhao Wei Zhao coming into this next game.
Even with the rest of XDG kind of playing fairly poorly in that game, you still focus the mid lane entirely. Do they have any other options?
I think there's no the other option is from what I understand, Vasily has a very poor champion pool, and that if you triple ban his champion pool, he's very underwhelming. So maybe they'd like to do that and snowball bot lane, because for the most part, ManCloud can hold his own middle. Like I think laning phase, ManCloud does fine, 1v1 like without any jungle pressure, which is why they banned Eve, because Eve is like a really notorious lane fiddler, and so. I think generally they could do it two ways. They could either triple ban mid or triple ban bot. I just think triple banning bot will not win them the game. I think it has to be like at least a double ban mid. I agree. Syndra, I only want ban because it has a really good matchup against Soraka.
All right, thank you very much, guys. But we are just warming up here. When we return, we'll get Game 2 between LMQ and XDG with a spot in the North American LCS hanging in the balance. But as we go to break, let's check out some of Zhao Wei Zhao's dominating shockwaves.